Welcome to my workbench. Today we've got deep heart surgery on the agenda, and those of you who've been following my recent posts on Facebook and also on my YouTube channel will know I've been building this my Boulder Valley Models Mighty Midget switcher. This is the Hash 363 version. It's like a centre cab, and when that's finished I've also got a Hash 361 version to build. Now these use, don't know how well you can see here, these use one of the trucks from the old Bachmann first generation HO GE switcher, which had two independently powered trucks, and they were very popular about 20 years or so ago as power units for little small critters, which I guess is what these are really. Anyway, I've been getting on quite well with this. It's nearly finished, but I did another test run the other day on my short test track, and I'm staggered I hadn't noticed this before, but it waddles like a crab, if that's not a bit of a contradiction between a duck, for example, and a crab. But it sort of waddles along like this, exaggerated, when it's going in one direction. It's incredibly smooth the other. Now, as I've tested this several times on this test track, quite how I hadn't noticed that before, I don't know, unless it's just a problem that's just started. But anyway, moving on, a bit of research, etc., and it would seem that these were the old 44-ton first generation switcher were notorious at gear splitting issues, something that a good number of us are very familiar with, especially with Bachmann's ON30 Davenport gas mechanical, which was plagued with issues, and other locos too, like the rail truck, etc. Anyway, I've got two trucks here. This was the one that I had fitted to the Mighty Midget switcher that's been giving them problems. So just a few tips on how to proceed with this. As you probably know, if you've been following my story and my sort of journals, if you like, I'm a relative newcomer to the whole model railroad scene, but learning quite quickly. So when the truck's complete, this sits over the top and the motor's underneath. As soon as you undone these 4 screws, this lifts off and the motor, along with its worm drive, comes off. The truck has 2 contacts here. You can just about see one. There's a second as well, which when the motor's put in place, as long as you do this carefully, one of the contacts sits underneath the brush holder, should we call it, there, and the other one touches against that one, and that makes contact with the wheel wipers. You can see this little plate here with 2 holes drilled, and it sits over those pegs. In fact, let's have a closer look at them. There's one here, for example, very thin material. You can see there the 2 bits sticking out of the wheel contacts. Don't know how much the video will pick that up. And then this one is the motor contact. I must say it's a pretty rubbish arrangement, in my opinion. In fact, I'm thinking when I rebuild this, I might just cut this short and solder on a short length of decoder wire and try and get a good hot soldered connection onto the top of the brush housing there. It's not great, but I think it'll be a lot better than the standard arrangement. I notice this has got a skew wound armature, so they were getting a bit more scientific with their motors then. There's another contact there. That's the the bottom one. So anyway, under the 4 screws, lift the top cover plate off. The motor will then lift out, but just be a bit careful, and that reveals the gearbox. There's another one here. This was a complete truck that was actually running really smoothly, but it's missing its 2 pegs. You see those snapped off. And with the Mighty Midget switcher, here's the, let's call it a chassis, shall we, and foot plate, but it has little slots underneath there which those pegs engage in. So I think if a pair of them were missing, like here, then the body's likely to wobble a little bit on there. And as it weighs absolutely nothing, in fact I'm adding weight to it all the time, trying to find out where I can put a perhaps a cut down wheel balancing weight, or 2 or 3 or 4. You don't want anything going on like that. So the wheels seem to be all identical according to the part number on the exploded diagram with the loco. They're the same part number, so I think they're all identical. So they can pull out of the gears at the front and back. They're just a fairly tight push fit. Obviously, you've got to make sure you get the wheel spacing correct. You can see there's just 2 holes there, one there and one there where the wheel axles were, and then the rest of the gears. So by the time you under the top 4 screws, lifted the cover plate off, carefully taken the motor out, and then perhaps with your nail or small screwdriver prized off the 2 wheels, and then pulled those axles out with the other wheel, then you're left then with the gears. So you've got this single spur gear here. These 2 at the end are obviously uniquely different, and then these 3 in the centre seem to be identical. Anyway, there's obviously a problem with this one. I haven't spent too long on it yet. I've got my jeweler's loop over here to have a closer look. But if you hold one pair of wheels and then try and rotate the other, I don't know how much of this will show up on the video, but you can see the other gears turning. And you can continue to release your pressure on these wheels, rotate it a bit more and keep going until you find anything that suggests there's a problem. And I've already, I think, ascertained it is actually this bottom gear down there that's at fault, because it doesn't hardly moves when you rotate this axle. And that's not about ratios. I think there's a split gear issue, or perhaps a missing tooth, I don't know. But I think when the whole thing's assembled and then the worm's driving it, in one direction it seems to run fine. That's where it's effectively closing up. If it's a split gear, closing up that gap, and in the other direction it's opening up. So I think it's a split gear rather than a tooth missing. I think we'd hear a clicking noise otherwise, and it would be really, really rubbish. So I'm going to pull all these out, have a look at them, and see if I can find out which is the rogue one. I think it's this back one. And then hopefully pinch these, which obviously since this one was running okay, hopefully I can just transfer all those in, or one, whatever, and put this right again. I gather Northwest Short Lines, based in the States, do still have sets of gears with wheel sets for this. So I think that's that complete assembly there with possibly metal gears, or certainly better quality gears. That suggests these are the 2 that normally suffer when you have this problem, rather than any of the intermediates. I'm not convinced of that yet, but I'll know more when I've pulled it apart. So that's sort of where we're at the moment. I'm still a relative beginner at all this stuff, but I did try to find stuff online that would help me to know how to take this apart. It's always a bit daunting, isn't it? I mean, I'm fairly confident and I think fairly good with mechanical things. I've done quite a lot of modelling in the past, but not model railway modelling, but I'm fairly used to model engineering as well. So, but it's still scary if you haven't done this before. And as I've been on my soapbox before now, my second locomotive I bought was a Davenport gas mechanical. Not actually this one, but one of these. And it performed perfectly. It's DCC, it's a yellow one, sort of mustard colour. It's amazing, it still obviously seems to have its original gears from all those years ago and it's still running really sweetly. But then I bought a second. In fact, I have a feeling it might have been this one. This also is actually DCC, but that clearly had a gear problem, and I appealed on the Facebook groups that, to do with ON30 for advice and tips and hopefully videos, etc., to show me how to go about taking this apart. And I had almost zero response, and I found that really disappointing. I used to own 2 model shops in the UK, although not both at the same time as it happens, but even right back then it was just so important to make sure that people coming new into the various aspects of the hobby felt there was support available for them. In my case, of course, they could come in and chat to me, bring all their problems to me, and hopefully I'd help sort them out and point them in the right direction. But because everything seems to be online now and there are not many model shops left, even in the UK, that's not so easy to do anymore, is it? So so in the end I just stumbled on my own and pulled it apart, and managed to do the swap the gears around. In fact, on my YouTube channel, I don't know where you're watching this, whether this is on a Facebook group or already on my YouTube channel, but I've posted I think 2 or 3 videos showing how to dismantle the Davenport to get access to the gears, and how to swap the gears around, including converting this to brass gears, which I've done with most of mine now, gears I sourced from China. So be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check those out. There's lots of others, about 60 videos already, so I'm a relative beginner. I have been doing quite a lot of work recording material that I thought would be of interest. There's a lot of other loco project info on there, and there's a lot more to come. But yeah, that was disappointing that there was seemingly very little help available. And I think while I'm still on my soapbox, if we want to see people come into this hobby, the whole model railroading area, especially youngsters, try and get them off their flat screens, which that must surely be getting boring. We need to create an environment, especially as most of this has to be online now, as there are so few model stores left. They need to find a community where they do get help. If they ask, can you help me with this, that and the other, that people perhaps go out of their way to record videos. And I know Sean's done some incredible ones, hasn't he, on the Shea loco servicing and so on, recently, from Wandering Spruce Railroad. He's based in Australia. That was incredibly helpful. So I'm trying to do my bit to help, but I think if we want to see people come into this hobby, especially as a good number of us are retirement age, we're not going to be around forever. So I think it behoves all of us to make an effort to try and create that community that will encourage people to join. And then if we do any marketing, try to get people to look at alternative things to flat screen boredom, then let's make it easy for them, shall we? Anyway, I hope that's of some help. Welcome to add any comments you may wish. Don't forget to like and subscribe if it's YouTube, and like the video if it's on Facebook. Thanks for stopping by. Greetings from the UK. Hope to see you again soon. Cheerio for now.